Good evening, rockers. Vegas Rock Goddess here on the Rocks Total Entertainment, coming to you live from somewhere off the Las Vegas Strip. Today, I'm having an amazing conversation with one of the hottest Nashville artists. I got to connect with this guy at Rock and Pod Fest, Ashton Blake from Native Sons. This guy is absolutely off the hook. He is one of the busiest musicians in Nashville. So we're going to have fun talking rock and seeing where his band is going in 23. He's got some amazing musicians in this band. So we're going to hook up with him. We're going to talk rock. It's going to be fun. So we're just going to chill out right here and just wait for Mr. Blake. All right. Ashton Blake is knocking at my door, so we're going to let him in. Are you there, Ashton?
Yeah, how's it going?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I figure it just seems like it was yesterday that we were at Rock and Pod Fest, huh?
Yeah, it does. I was actually talking to somebody about Rock and Pod today. One of my friends in Nashville who attended.
Yeah, it was such a great event, and I got a feeling Chris Sinsak is going to do another one next year, which is going to be awesome.
I sure hope so. I really hope so, because he did one in I think it was 2021, and it was pretty good. But I think 2023 is probably took the cake. It was in a bigger place, and there was a lot of different booths and a lot more of a variety of people there. It was really cool. I really hope he does it again next year.
I hope so too. Well, thank you for coming on, Ashton. When I talked to you, it wasn't enough time, at Rock and Pod Fest. So this is a great opportunity for us to connect. Now, you are one of the busiest musicians in Nashville. I mean, that's no lie, because I follow you on the socials, and I mean, you are busy.
Thanks.
Which is
I appreciate
good.
Yeah, I try to stay busy.
Right. It's always a good thing. Well, let's talk a little bit about your band, which I got to meet there as well. Amazing guys. Now, you started kind of this project in 2019, but your current members didn't come along right away. Is that correct?
Yeah, we've had several lineup changes in the past. It says on our website. It was 2018, 2019 is when we started it. We were under a different name. We were actually under New Machine. Ex Bullet Boys drummer Rich Green was in it. There's hold on, just ex drummer from Bullet Boys, Rich Green. There was Steve. He's Steve Swordface. He's from Memphis, Tennessee. Then one of my good friends, Lorenzo Del Vecchi, played guitar. A.D. Zimmer, who was in Lou Graham. We recorded The Natives Are Restless under that name, and then we tried to, in 2019, we tried to move the name to Native Sons. Bill Chavis of High Volume Records came up with the name, and so he was like, let's start fresh. Let's take the songs and just rebrand and try to take it on to a different level. And then that's when COVID hit, and everybody kind of had jobs, and
Crazy.
we kind of lost touch with people. But so they all were just like, take it as far as you can and play as much as you can. So that's what I did. And then I found a group of friends through Rich, which was Kevin Seven, and his son was on drums, and then his friend was on guitar. But that one was kind of short lived, because a lot of those guys were in college. So it was kind of just like, they couldn't tour as much as as I would like to. I like staying busy as possible. So they ended up stepping away. And then I found another group of friends to kind of tour with me, and those guys fell off for various reasons. To either pursue solo careers or family life, or I think the bass player went on to he was more of a death metal guy, which he's doing really great in the death metal scene, which is pretty cool. But it added a really cool element to the band. But then I guess as time went by, we just kept touring and kept playing. By Monsters on the Mountain in 2021, we ended up having a whole new lineup as well. I had a good friend of mine who was on drums. He was in the army, so he ended up, he couldn't travel a lot, and then he was still active duty, and he still is, I'm pretty sure. So it was one of those things that's like, as he got more into his military career, it just, became an obstacle that he and the band couldn't really move. Then we got on bass, we had Jim Quiggins. He used to be in a band called Sweet FA back in the 80s, which was kind of cool. He added a professional element to the band. I think we started operating on different levels and started really taking things to the next level. I think at that point we got JT Shea on guitar, and then Victor Adriel on guitar as well at that point. So it's just been kind of a revolving door of musicians, unfortunately. As you said, you met a lot of people at Rock and Pod. JT is no longer with us in the band, and neither is Victor. They went on to do their other projects. I think they're in 3 or 4 different bands, so it just became a little too much for Native Sons to compete with the other bands that they wanted to do. So they ended up stepping away, and now we have Sebastian Labar is playing guitar for us. Our first show with him is going to be June 9th. We're going to play Hog Rock in Cave and Rock, Illinois, which was really cool. It's going to be, I've actually played there once in 2016 as a solo artist, but now I get to go there and play as Native Sons.
Yeah, I'm from Chicago. So nice. Yeah, that's a cool place for sure. I'm look, hey, you're gonna have a great, you played there before, so that is a great venue.
Yeah, I really liked the festival that they put on.
Yeah, so okay, so that then you still have Grandy, right?
Grady, yeah.
Grady's
still in the band. Yeah,
let me tell you, he is full of personality. I love that guy.
Yeah, Grady's pretty awesome, man. He does we've been trying to showcase his artwork a lot more, try to give, because that's what I try to do is like, Native Sons isn't just a band, it's a personality and a group of members, so I want to kind of use it as a platform for artists to create. So it's like everyone that's in the band that has something different that's not just music, I try to incorporate that and try to push that to the forefront of Native Sons.
That's great, Ashton. That's a great way to get your other members kind of involved in like their own thing so they can have their own spotlight. That's great.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty unique take on things. I think it's not just a band, it's a collective of artists coming together to create music and art and entertainment.
That's what it's all about. Okay, so moving forward to today now, are you in the recording studio recording new music with your band, or are you doing more solo stuff right now?
Right now, I would say it's a mixture of both. I'm doing, I do have a little bit of kind of a solo thing going on. I've got several, original songs that didn't really match what Native Sons was doing. So I definitely want to put out some new music just myself. But me and Sebastian Labar have actually been writing and recording stuff together. He's had some songs that he previously, had music to, and he's like, man, I just never wrote lyrics to these things. So we've actually got 6 new songs kind of coming together pretty quickly. I spent a lot of time up there in Ohio where he's at now. And it was kind of funny. I didn't actually know his dad was Jeff Labar from Cinderella.
Oh my God.
I didn't realize.
I was just thinking of that. How amazing is that? Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah, I was. It was kind of funny. I went up there. I was like, man, I'm like, because Jeff is one of my favorite guitar players. Cinderella is one of my favorite bands.
I've met him a few times here in Vegas. Yeah.
He's a really great guy. Like I remember one time I wished him a Merry Christmas, and he actually wrote me back. So I was like, that's pretty cool. He's a real down to earth guy. So, um, but I was like, I'm gonna go up here and jam with this guy who's in. I just knew him from Tantric, and I was like, man, he's got the same last name as my favorite guitar player. Like, um, so I ended up going up there, and it was kind of funny because I was looking at all the pictures on the wall, and I'm like, man, this guy's really into Cinderella. and and then I seen the gold records on the wall. I'm like, his dad's Jeff. So it was kind of one of those things. Like I didn't want to assume that his dad,
Right.
who his dad was, because there's a lot of Labar is a there's so many famous people that have last names, and so many people have the same last name. So
Right.
you just like, maybe it's a coincidence, but it was kind of cool. He was showing me he's very proud of his dad, and he should be.
Oh
It's
yeah.
his dad did historic things. I think that a lot of people see Cinderella as an 80s hair metal band. I think they were very much versatile than that. It's just they fit into the time that they were in. But I feel like if they came out now, it would still be like, oh my gosh, what is this band?
Oh my
So
God. It's
they're
so
just one of those
crazy.
bands.
It's so crazy. When I met Jeff LaBar, I'll tell you just a quick story. Um, I was working with the radio station at the time in Chicago, and I was working on getting the radio station an interview with John Bon Jovi, and I actually knew some of the people in the Bon Jovi team. So they invited me to come down. They had a series of 2 shows. I think it was at UIC Pavilion in Chicago, and Cinderella actually played their first show on the Bon Jovi tour in Chicago. It was their first ever performance. I mean, it was amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, very cool. Jeff LaBar is amazing. What a great legacy. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's cool. He's working with you. That's awesome. So I mean, you're juggling projects. You don't not only have Native Sons, you have your own stuff too, which is great. And I know I've been looking at your tour dates. You've been playing some acoustic gigs as well, right?
Yeah, just around town. I have some of my favorite spots, and some of my favorite people that have reached out to me and is like, hey, you want to come and play for our bike nights, or So I've been kind of just doing stuff around Louisville, but I am gonna branch out and start doing stuff out of state, acoustically, and maybe even I've even contemplated on putting together a band for Ashton Blake. The project, I'm talking about it in third person. um,
That's
but I
cool.
guess that's how it is.
That's
It's you get
usually
that
how it
business.
is.
Yeah,
Right.
you get that business mindset. But I've contemplated doing some shows as a full band. I've got some songs I'd like to do to the album, because that's kind of the way I like to do it. Is you know
Right.
when we record something, I want it to sound like the album. And Native Sons is and with all my bands is like, we don't use tracks, we don't use backing vocals. It's all 100%. I've come up with this new logo. It's like or this new slogan, I guess. It's like, with all the AI stuff coming out, it's like 100% organic, no artificial intelligence added. So I'm
Man,
gonna try to make that into a sticker. So
yeah, you should
uh,
make it into a sticker, like a bumper sticker or whatever, and sell it at your show. Oh my God.
yeah, so
That's
there's
awesome.
a lot of AI stuff coming out, and it's like,
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of noise in the future of that. It's going to change the industry. I'm not sure if it's for the better. Technology usually doesn't change things for the better, but I'm just going to keep doing me and keep doing the things that I want to do and that I love to do. So
Right.
Ashton Blake Band will probably do some tour dates. I'm hoping, if I can get it together. But Native Sons is definitely my main focus.
Yeah, for sure. Now you're in Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, Kentucky area, there's a few bands coming out of there, but I think that's why you spend a lot of time in Nashville because there's a lot more.
Yeah, there's not very much going on as far as Louisville and Lexington. A lot of our venues have actually shut down and stopped having original music altogether.
Which is bad.
Uh, yeah, it's all cover bands and tribute bands, but I'm starting to see the numbers go down for tribute bands too around here. So it's like, I think with a lot of people around here, I think with the way the stock market is, and people not having as much money, people are saving. There's a lot of scare tactics going on with the economy
Right.
and the debt ceiling. It's like everybody's freaking out right now. But we're still, I do see a lot of different places like Nashville, and there are some places in Louisville that still like original music. Regardless, we're going to keep playing music and we're going to make it work like we always have. The pandemic didn't stop us, and I don't
Oh
think that
no.
a recession or
Yeah,
anything
I
will.
mean, no, the pandemic, it didn't stop me. I was interviewing bands the whole time till that second wave hit. And then we had Keep Rock Alive. We had to shut down the show. And then I rebranded in 22. So yeah, and this is, what pandemic did, which is I'm grateful for that. Because I have to keep rock alive at this point. It's funny that you bring up the subject of cover bands and tribute bands. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
And I think from the artists that I've talked to and the fans that I've talked to, they want to hear original music. And it's not like, I put cover bands down because I don't. I know everybody has to make a living and I get that. But at the end of the day, people want to hear new music.
Yeah, I
And
believe that.
yeah,
I
and
definitely believe that.
tribute bands are amazing. There's some of the most awesome tribute bands out there. And they're actually starting to kind of squeeze in some original music, which I think is a really smart idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I get mixed feelings from musicians on tributes and covers and originals. Some people, when you talk to some people and they're like, "Oh, tributes, they're nothing but posers." I'm like, nah, you can't really say that,
No.
because they're up there and they're playing everything note for note. It that takes skill and that takes talent. So
Yeah,
you
they're
can't
still
really,
grinding.
I discredit nobody as far as
Right.
it's all music. They're just playing their influences. It's like not everybody can sit down and write an original song from
Right.
scratch.
Exactly.
There That's why some people buy their songs, or they're songwriters that you collaborate with. So Native Sons, we write all of our stuff. It was me and Steve Swordface wrote the first album. Me and JT wrote the second album. Yeah, I'm very much a lyrics and partially a arranger
Right.
as much as anything. I people people ask me, when did you decide to become a singer? I never really thought of myself as a singer. I was just like that. It just kind of happened. I
Right.
liked writing songs, and I couldn't find anyone to sing them. So eventually I was just like, well, I'm going to try it. You know?
Right. Why not? Right. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. Because I mean, we were on that subject. I was talking to a band out of New Jersey, Blood Red Roses. I was interviewing uh, Pete V yesterday, and we were talking about, the differences with the cover bands and the tribute bands. I mean, if these cover bands can only start squeezing in some original material, they can widen and broaden their audience,
Yeah.
you know. But hey, they're grinding it out. They're getting shows. Half of them are packing out the house, which is great. But again, original music is always going to trump that, you know,
Yeah. I definitely think so.
for sure. So, what do you have going on, Ashton? I know you have some dates coming up. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, we have a few select dates coming up. We have June 9th, we'll be in Cave and Rock, Illinois. June 10th, we're going to be at Southgate House Revival in Newport, Kentucky, which is right across the bridge from Cincinnati. Then July 22nd, we're going to be in Springwell, Indiana. There's an A-Bait rally there. It's a big festival. Uh, you can actually check all of our dates out on nativesonsrocks.com. Then September 16th, we're actually in or around Nashville. It's called Iron Fest.
Okay.
It's for a little independent record label, that's based out of Louisiana, I think. They manage a band called Fractured, which is some friends of ours. They reached out to us. They've asked us to headline, but I think they might be talking to somebody like really big that was going to headline, but they asked us if they couldn't get those people if we would headline. Or of course we'll be direct support if not. So I'm not really, they haven't really announced. They've announced the lineups for it, but I think they're still announcing things. It's kind of like the
Right.
Monsters of Rock cruise where
Oh,
they
yeah.
announce all the bands and then they keep adding, which is
Right.
great. I think that's a
Yeah.
great model. Keeping people interested, keeping
Right.
I think if the Monsters of Rock cruise was like, here's our 25 bands, you'd kind of lose interest in it. As far as being able to talk about things.
Right.
So those guys are very good about keeping the fans engaged and wanting more, and it's going to be really cool to be a part of that. We're probably going to hit it really hard in the fall. We're still working on dates. Our agent's supposed to call me next week about a
Right.
slew of dates that he wants to confirm with us. So it's all about routing. A lot of people that are getting out this year. A lot of people who were kind of just staying home till the CDC decided to officially lift the
Right.
ban, which they did probably earlier this year. Which I thought that they had already done it because everybody was in full swing, but I guess it wasn't official till like a few months ago that
Right.
everybody decided, okay, the CDC's, decided that we can go out and do our thing again, that everything's safe. And so now you've got a lot of people going out. So that's why we have selective dates in the summer, because there's a lot of people going out and playing. But I think we're going to really hit it hard in the fall. So be looking for dates on that.
Yeah, because that'll be a great opportunity in September. You got plenty of time, between now and then, to figure out like where you guys want to play in the fall, which is great for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I know you're an amazing songwriter, Ashton.
I appreciate it.
I was just talking to my friend about you, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to talk to Ashton Blake. He goes, oh, is that guy in Native Sons? I go, yeah. I mean, he was a really big fan. And he was telling me like one of his favorite songs is Red Leather Woman. Let's talk about that. What's the meaning kind of or story behind that?
Well, I think me and JT, there's so many, I guess, personal songs on the album that me and JT were like, we got to have, one fun song or at least a few fun songs on the record. So, we had written Shadowhead and Again Tomorrow and I think Another Day. And so we were just like, okay, we're halfway through the album. We've got all these songs that really, really mean something and have a personal connection to. We just wanted to write something fun. So we were like, trying to picture, I guess, a rocker chick that everybody kind of wants, to be with, or, maybe it's, something that people can connect to and
Right.
kind of apply to them, maybe their high school sweetheart or someone they really liked in high school, or even in college or whatever, the girl at the concert. That's kind of what it was. Just kind of a fun song that me and JT were just like, we need that one, at least one song on the album that's just like, in your face,
Like the
I
one
guess,
hook, the one hook song.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, that was one of my friend's favorite tunes. I just figured I'd ask you about it because I mean, like I said, also all songs have a backstory. And you guys, I mean, you're writing a lot. So I mean, 23, I think so far has already started off to be an amazing year for you.
Yeah, I think so too. We launched the album very successfully. We're on, you know, we signed a deal with Curtain Call Records. Uh, they've actually put us on the radio in East Europe and in the UK, as well as in some FM stations in the United States, and some sporadic. I guess Brazil. We're down there. So I think we're on 108 radio stations just this year. That is new radio stations that have picked us
Wow.
up.
That's a lot. And that's great that you're getting the international flavor too, for your music. It's funny you mentioned Curtain Call. I actually interviewed Sal Quintero, the
Nice.
president of Curtain Call Records. She
Yeah.
is amazing. She's a great woman. She knows all about rock and roll. So I'm a big fan of hers.
Yeah, she's a very sweet woman.
I like her a lot. Well, okay, so let me put this to you. I usually ask a question at the end of the interview. It's kind of fun and lighthearted or whatever.
All
Um,
right.
okay, if you could put together a super group of musicians, dead or alive, who would they be, and what would the name of the band be?
Oh man. Well, I've always liked the name Tragic Hero.
Okay,
Whenever I was in high school, I was trying to put together a band. Tragic Hero was always a band name that I thought would be a cool one, Uh, but I would definitely have to say Jeff LeBar because he's one of my favorite guitar players.
oh yeah, for sure.
Uh, and him and his son have a very similar style. I think it's much different from each other, but it's still still there. So I'm very honored to have Sebastian in the band. Um, it would definitely be Jeff LeBar. I would say if I was the manager of the band and I wasn't singing in it, Tom Petty would probably be a good vocalist slash
Right,
rhythm guitar. John Bonham on drums. That just be. I guess it would be one of those things that's like he can really rip on the drums, but having Tom Petty there, he probably wouldn't have to as much.
right,
But it's just kind of like one of those things like, man, this guy's a cannon and he can just hold the beat down.
right.
Bass guitar. Oh man, there's so many great bass players. I would say that, I'm going to mess up his last name, but Phil, I'm not even going to say his last name. Phil from Thin Lizzy,
Oh, Phil
the
Lynott.
original singer.
Phil Lynott.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can never say his last
I
name,
know,
but he's
it's
one of my
okay.
favorite
He
songwriters.
is actually one of my favorite bass players and artists. I mean, oh my God. I mean, he is definitely missed. He was amazing. He's still, I mean, you could put a Thin Lizzy album on today, man, and you could totally think he's here.
Yeah.
That's a great lineup, Ashton. I hate to say it, but that's a great lineup.
Thanks.
Super group. But hey, it was great talking to you. Thank you for coming on. Let's reconnect over the summer, maybe in the fall when you guys go back on the road, and you can give me a preview of what's happening.
All right. That sounds great.
We'll reconnect, and I'm sure we're going to reconnect at Rock and Podfest next year too. So
Yeah.
keeping our fingers crossed on that, Chris Sensak.
Yeah. Hint, hint there.
Hint, hint. Well, take care. Tell the guys I said hi. Tell Grady I said hi. Brandy, right?
Grady?
I don't know why I keep calling him Brandy. Grady. He's in another band, right? Lost Prayer?
Yeah, I think Stolen Prayer. He's
Stolen
also
Prayer.
in Pretty Tied Up.
Oh my gosh, that guy, I think he told me that. He was in like 3 bands. Super cool guy. I look forward to meeting Sebastian. Um, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. What before I let you go, why don't you tell the viewers where they can find your music at?
You can find our music anywhere music is streamed, but more importantly at nativesonsrocks.com.
And Spotify,
Yes.
right? Okay, very cool. Well, have a great day, Ashton. Thank you so much for coming on, and we will talk soon.
All right. Talk soon. Thanks for
Thank
having
you
me.
so much.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Wow, Ashton Blake, what a great rock and roll story. And his story has just begun. So we're going to reconnect with him late in the summer, early fall, when Native Sons goes back on the road. He's going to be going in the studio to record a solo project. So amazing. If you want to find out more about Native Sons, go to nativesons.com and spotify.com to hear the latest music from Native Sons. This is the Vegas Rock Goddess, Carol Nevin, and I will see you next time.